and I am pleased to welcome to the 2025 edition of Statehouse Conversations a new face, energetic face, Representative Wendy Dant, Democrat from down in southern Indiana, District 71, which is Jeffersonville, a lot of Clark County is a good way to describe it, perhaps.
A lot of Clark County and a sliver of New Albany, which is in Floyd County, so I do get to talk about both counties as it relates to what's happening in Indiana.
Well, congratulations on the start of your tenure here. Now that you know everything there is to know about the limestone and what happens under the dome, what are your first impressions?
First impressions have been really positive. Number one, the cordialness of my colleagues, regardless of which party they are representing, has been wonderful, and I hope that continues.
I was going to say, give that a week or two.
Well, I'm going to be very optimistic because building bridges has been part of what my background has been. Secondly, though, the work that we do is so meaningful to individuals, and I don't want to lose track of that. My first committee meeting was roads and transportation, and in the first meeting we had a series of resolutions to approve that were naming roads and bridges for fallen officers. And there was a somberness that I walked into, knowing it was going to be a somber occasion, but when the father of a state trooper testified, or the widow of a sheriff's deputy testified and talked about what that meant to them, the reality and the magnitude of the decisions and conversations we're going to have here at the State House really hit me that these are people's lives, people's memories, and everything looking forward is really going to have impact. So I don't want to forget that ever.
What a great lesson. And that's a good reminder for even those who aren't freshmen and have been around for a long time, that people are on the receiving end of everything you all do.
Absolutely, absolutely.
As as a newcomer, you're still feeling your way around, but that doesn't mean you don't have priorities and bills that you would like to see gain the governor's signature this session. Give us a little highlight of some of your priorities this year.
Two main themes in what some of my bills include are affordability. I know that we have child care concerns across the state, and as a state, the private sector isn't able to solve their issues by themselves. The market's not working in a supply and demand normal equation.
So it becomes an economic development issue as much as a quality of life issue. I guess it strikes on many different fronts.
It absolutely does, because so many people who are trying to work but are hindered by lack of child care or unaffordability of child care are really concerned. So I have a bill that I'm looking for support to push forward ideas that are going to help working families. On the other end of the spectrum are the seniors. If we can't solve the child care problem today, the senior problem that we're having now, and it's going to grow in the future, and it's not a problem, it's just that the support and assistance that families need to take care of their loved ones on both ends of the spectrum are significant.
So if the goal on the front end is opening up more seats and giving people more affordable access to child care, what do you want to see happen for those of us who, like me in my 30s, who are on the other end of the spectrum specifically?
Yes. Well, specifically I have a bill that would help seniors who have Medicare supplement packages move into other providers without going through underwriting, so that they could save $800, $1,200 a year. And if you're on a fixed income, that's significant. So how do we help seniors with the financial aspects of aging in place, and try to figure out how to help the family that's supporting them as well?
I'll tell you got the youngsters covered, you've got the non-youngsters covered. Anything else that, again, will enable, that you want to see happen, that will enable you to go back to your district and say, hey, job done?
My background has been in economic development and running chambers of commerce. So I think that there's a lot of pieces that are going to impact workforce, business growth, training, education, all of the pieces that go into a good economic and business environment. But in my area specifically, we've been marred by scandal. So I hope to really set a goal of reestablishing trust and accountability in elected officials, myself included. I would say that we need to drop elected officials and remember that first and foremost we're public servants. And if we can take that approach to the work that we do, those real people, those real Hoosiers who depend on the decisions we make are going to be much better served.
I'll tell you, Wendy Dant doesn't sound like a freshman to me. Sound like words of wisdom from somebody who's been applying the hallways here for a long time. I
Yes.
wish you the best this session and beyond, and I thank you for taking time to join us and talk about your first impressions of the session, and I commend you for your commitment to the state of Indiana and to public service as a whole.
John, thank you very
All the
much.
best.
Appreciate the
Thank you.
opportunity.